Ang isa sa pinakamalaking test of faith was when God said, leave everything behind. I had a lucrative construction business with the potential to earn millions. No, we had businesses as a mega mall. Basta marami. There was no reason for us to leave the country. But God said, leave it all behind. And when He said, leave it all behind, wala siyang pinakitang picture of, a happy family somewhere in Australia enjoying life. Wala. He just gave us an open door. Here's a door. It's open. Just go. Sabi ni Lord, Joe, iwanan mo na yung buhay mo as Joe the Mango. Iwanan mo na yung love notes. Iwanan mo na lahat yan. Just obey. Obey me. Go.
This podcast is powered by Podcast Network Asia and Podmetrics. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to part 2 of our conversation with radio rock star Joe the Mango. Last time, we took a trip down memory lane and heard all about the mega success of his show Love Notes and all the heights that it took him to, even outside of radio. Today, Tito Joe shares how responding to an altar call in church changed the trajectory of his life. It has taken him very far, literally and spiritually, with lots of pearls of wisdom along the way, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll let Tito Joe tell you the story. It's just the girls on the Narrow Door podcast. Come on in.
You had everything going for you, right?
Yes.
And then came a point in your life where you felt like God was asking you to leave that all behind. Okay, so can you take, and I think this starts with the altar call that you responded to in Victory, and this is where our friend Pastor Dennis comes in, by the way, our Pastor Dennis. Okay. So yeah, tell us about that day where you went to Victory, Green Hills, and there was an altar call, and for some reason you felt like, I need to go up there.
Meron pang the day before that. Before that, my family and I attended Chinky Tan's seminar. Well, one of his seminars, about building your wealth in your business, Kasi we were into business nga, So we attended that Saturday. Sabi niya, can you join me again tomorrow sa Vera Mall? So we thought it was going to be another money talk, And pagdating namin doon, we realized it was a Christian service. A Victory Green Hill service, Sunday service. And si Chinky Tan was there and nag-altar call si Chinky Tan. Yung tinatanong mo, Sam, when he asked the people, sabi niya, who among you would want to surrender your life to Jesus? I don't know. Parang na-feel ko lang na I need to respond to this. I don't know what I was feeling at that moment, but there was something inside of me that was telling me, stand up, raise your hand. You need to make this decision in your life. So, nung time na yon, we were all seated together, si Bing and my 4 girls. I was on the side of the aisle. Tumayo lang ako. Tapos sabi ko, I don't care about my family. When you make that decision, you make that for yourself. Sabi ko, I don't care whether they would follow me or hindi. I'm doing this for myself. So tumayo ako and then I walked papunta sa harapan. And halfway through, parang attempt lang ako to look back. Gusto ko lang tingnan kung
Sumunod
ba sila or sumunod. And then, nagulat ako kasi they were all behind me. Tumayo sila lahat. So we got saved on the same day. That was July 1, 2012 at Victory Green Hills. And my life has never been the same since then. Ang isa sa pinakamalaking, I think, test of faith was when God said, leave everything behind. Yun sabi mo nga, Sam, di ba? I had a lucrative construction business with the potential to earn millions, we had businesses as a mega mall. Basta marami. There was no reason for us to leave the country, But God said, leave it all behind. And when He said, leave it all behind, wala siyang pinakitang picture of, a happy family somewhere in Australia enjoying life. Wala. He just gave us an open door. Here's a door. It's open. Just go. Sabi ko, Lord, paano? I'm already 45 when that happened. Sabi ko, parang, I don't want to start over again. knowing life in the Philippines, if you're doing well, okay, you can travel anytime you want, go to whatever place you want to go. Pag may pera ka, walang problema. Why do you need to leave this all behind? My family, first and foremost. Yung church, isang taon pa lang kami sa church. And then, the opportunity to grow your business. Yeah, the opportunity level up your career, no, in terms of what you've been doing, no. Parang sabi ni Lord, Joe, iwanan mo na yung buhay mo as Joe the Mango. Iwanan mo na yung love notes, iwanan mo na lahat yan. Just obey me, go. Sabi ko, Lord, anong meron doon? Sabi niya, go. Normally, if you want to make that leap of faith, you want that kind of assurance that at least there's something there to start with. Wala eh. We don't have any relatives here. Wala. We're starting basically from scratch. So that was the biggest test of my faith. Kasi would I or wouldn't I? I mean, parang, di ba? You have this beautiful life and then God said, leave that all behind.
So did that come to you in like a prayer, in prayer time? Or because what I understand is that after a few months responding to that altar call with your family, you got your permanent visa to Australia, which I think you took as a sign to mean, because God speaks in different ways, right? Like, oh, so this is the circumstance in my life. Is this God now telling me to go? Or did you like hear something in prayer? Like, what was it that really convinced you, oh, I think this is what God wants me to do? How did you discern that?
That's a good
like
question.
A sign? Huh?
Yeah.
Like a sign?
Before we became Christians, we became Christians in 2012. So before that time, lahat ng decision na ginagawa ko for my family was based on parang uneducated parang guess, no? Parang kung gagawin natin to, ito ang mangyayari. So during that time, we were weighing our options kasi we've been to Australia several times. Diba? Remember, we send winners to yung mga album launch, no? So I remember si Spice Girls, no? Nag-launch si Posh. Sino ba isa? Basta nag-launch siya sa Australia ng solo career niya.
Si Mel C.
Mel C, yes, Mel C, tama. So we went there, tapos ang sarap pala sa Australia. So we tried lang. In 2011, we sent our application. But we completely forgot about it. It's just like, subukan natin. This is one option, no? One direction, one opportunity. And then in 2012, we became Christians. Doon namin na-realize na everything that happened in the past, even yung mga decision na ganon, were all orchestrated by God for a reason. So, nakalimutan na talaga namin yon, yung application na yon. Kasi I remember when I inquired, sabi nila, you're on category 5, which means you will be the last to be processed. Kasi nag-apply ako at 45 eh. Parang if you're migrating to Australia at that age, hindi ka na namin mapapakinabangan, matanda ka na eh. So we're prioritizing the younger people, no, who could contribute to the economy. Parang ganun yung principle nila. No? Category 5 is the last category na ipaprocess nila. And I asked them, how many applications are you currently processing? Sabi nila, 150,000 applicants.
Whoa!
So sabi ko, Bing, let's forget about this. No? Pina-renovate na namin yung bahay namin. We went on a trip to the States with the kids. No? Parang, sige, kalimutan na natin yan. And then 2012, we became Christians. And we were baptized March of 2013, 8 months after we received Christ. And then 2 days after our baptism, I received an email from the Australian Embassy saying that our visa has been granted. That was a weekend. No, that was a weekend. We were supposed to meet with Robinson's supermarkets to have yung business ng one of my daughters, Carlene, to be franchised in 100 Robinson supermarkets.
That's major.
Major yon.
Wow.
Parang nung nung nag-set sila ng meeting, sabi namin, tutuloy pa ba natin tong meeting na to? So that weekend was transformational kasi my wife, I remember my wife said, there's this verse in Acts, no? It's actually a mention of the verse in Genesis when God said to Abraham, go and leave your country and your people and go to the place that I will show you. Yun lang ang sinabi niya. And hindi siya nagsabi na specific place na pupuntahan ni Abraham, just go. So parang sinabi ng wife ko, I think we should go.
Wow!
Sabi ko talaga. Actually, siya yung nakarinig eh. Siya, very clear sa kanya yung message ni Lord. Ako kasi, hindi pa ako completely sold to the idea. Because I was holding on to who I was and what I'm capable of making out of my life here in the Philippines. Kaya hindi pa ako masyado. Pero nung sinabi niya, I believe God is telling us to go. Sabi ko talaga. So, sabi niya yes. So we talked to our daughters. Sabi namin, if one of them says no, we will not go. And all of them said, Ma, Dad, whatever your decision is, we will follow. Malalaki ng mga bata nun, they have their own lives already. Graduate na sila ng college, si Katrina. Sabi namin, God is telling us to leave the Philippines. Ayun, so a month, siguro that was July 2013. We packed our bags. 6 luggages and 10 alisbayan boxes. We left everything behind. And that was it. We didn't know what to expect. I was trying my best to look for a job. I can't find a job. Sabi ko, Lord, marami naman ako alam gawin. Binigyan mo naman ako ng skills. Bakit di ako makahanap ng trabaho? So parang, alam mo yon, I was disheartened, discouraged. Sabi ko, Lord, bakit mo kami dinala dito para mag-suffer? Ako, most especially. Mga bata, they were able to find a job after 3 weeks. Pero ako, nag-struggle ako. Kasi parang, yung value ko was dependent on what I was doing and the things that I have achieved. And now that I cannot do anything, parang nawalan ako ng value sa sarili ko. Parang, kasi yung value, your security is based on who you are, no, what you have achieved, not who you are in the Lord. Parang sinasabi ni Lord sa akin na yung value mo wala na dun sa mga na-achieve mo, dun sa pangalan mo. Ang value mo ngayon is because of who you are because of me. So parang dun ko na-realize na kung anong importante sa buhay natin. It's important to excel in whatever field that God has put you in. Use your talents to bless other people. But at the end of the day, you live your life for God's glory.
Wow. So you experienced that time as God just kind of breaking down everything the world told you were signs of success and worth and value, and just build you back up again.
Yes, from scratch.
Wow. So when you guys decided as a family that, okay, I think the prompting from God is for us to leave and live in Canberra, where you are now. So because now you guys you planted a church there, you lead your own Victory Church in Canberra. So none of that was even clear either. Like, I think God wants us to go, so we can plant a church. It wasn't even that. Like, it was just go. And then
it was just go. My mindset was to replicate at least a portion of what I've achieved in the Philippines, in this new land of milk and honey. So that was my only goal. I mean, I was a Christian, but I wasn't, my faith wasn't that mature yet in terms of, it was more of like the worldly part of you struggling with the spiritual part of you. So that was difficult. Yes, so maraming tinuro si Lord sa akin dito. I remember, kasi tinuloy ko yung interior design dito. Tinuloy ko dito, but I remember when I was in the Philippines, no, kapag coding yung Fortuner, tapos ang dala ko yung Avanza, I would park sa malayo sa pag-meeting ako sa Green Hills, no? Kasi sa Pilipinas, if you're a contractor, dapat maganda kotse mo. Hindi pwedeng contractor ka tapos ang kotse mo hindi maganda. Parang may
representation.
Mali, diba? Representation. So, magpa-park ako sa malayo para lang sabihin ko, wala kasing parking dyan. But actually, hindi ko kasi dala yung mas magandang sasakyan. Kaya kailangan hindi ko pakita, no? Kasi ang gaganda ng sasakyan nila. So parang kailangan mo laging i-dress up yung sarili mo, no? Externally, so that people will find value in you. Pagdating dito sa Australia, binago lahat ni Lord. I remember, meron akong isang project. Mayaman siya. 1.2 million worth yung dollars yung condo niya. He was driving a BMW X5. Yung anak niya was driving Mercedes na SUV. Yung Pilipino na nag-refer sa akin was driving Lexus RX something. Yung isang contractor naka-Porsche. Tapos it's parang Forbes ng Canberra yan, no. I was driving a 2000 two-door Daihatsu. Di ba? Parang kung ako nasa Pilipinas niyan, maglalakad na lang ako. Hindi na ako magsasasakyan. Pero alam mo, sabi ni Lord, alam mo yung value mo, wala sa sasakyan mo. Ang value mo, kung ano yung pwede mong i-contribute doon sa business, doon sa project. So wag mo hayaan i-define ka by what you wear, what you drive. Ang value mo, if you're an interior designer, be a good interior designer. Bigyan mo ng value yung mga taong pinagtatrabahuan mo. That's your value. Wala sa external na nakikita nila sa'yo. Nag-work ako sa isang hardware store. Nagtatago ako pag may mga Pilipino. Kasi nagtutulak ako ng mga washing machine saka dryer.
Oh, did a lot of people recognize
pag may
you
mga
in
Pilipino,
Canberra?
Yes, oo. Kasi syempre, most of the people who came here are from mga migrants from the year 90s and 2000. So kilala pa nila si
So,
Joe
nabutan.
Domingo.
Oo, nabutan
Naabutan
si
pa
Joe.
nila. So magtatago ako. Magdi-detour ako dun sa masiskip na aisle para lang makaiwas. Tapos parang binatukan ako ni Lord, boy, ano ka ba? True enough, kasi meron kaming isang cashier doon na Chinese pero mukha siyang na Pilipino pero mukha siyang Chinese. So there was this Filipino couple na iniwasan ko, and then pinagchismisan ako doon right in front of the counter. They didn't know that the guy was Filipino kasi talagang Chinese looking siya. Tapos sabi niya sa akin, alam mo ba kanina yung dalawang mag-asawa? Sabi si Joe Damango, tinan mo, ayun nagtutulak ng ano. Alam mo yung gano'n, parang sabi ni Lord, bakit ka ba mahihiya sa ginagawa mo? Hindi ka naman nagnanakaw. Decent naman yung trabaho mo. Bakit mo kahihiya yan? Alam mo yun, parang kasi sa Pilipinas, mahihiya ka talaga nun. Joe Damango ka, tapos yun ang ginagawa mo. No? Maraming binago si Lord sa akin, sa puso ko. No? Na parang, tinanggalan niya ako ng pride. Marami rin akong pride kasi pag ando ka na sa status na yun, parang feeling mo entitled ka. No?
Speaking of pride, because I also thought it was really interesting how you talk about, you come from a humble background and you built this name for yourself, this amazing career for yourself, fame and I was going to say fame and rich. No, I mean, you became rich and famous. No, really, in the world would call you like a self-made success story, right? But I think you were also talking about how with your conversion, you also learned that you were depending on yourself. Like every good thing that happened to you, you credited yourself for it. And and of course, like you worked very hard to make all of this happen. I mean, just earlier we were talking about how in the 25 years of doing it, like you never felt like you were burned out. Like you just loved doing it, and definitely you deserve credit for that. But there was also a side of it where you were like, this is all me. I did all of this by myself. Yes. And God spoke to you about that as well.
Yes, that's so true. Most of the time kasi, I mean, in my life, no, even in my marriage, sabi ko, the reason why we're still together, my wife and I, after all these years, is because ang galing ko kasi magbigay ng advice. Na-apply ko yung mga advice ko sa problema namin. We almost got separated in 2000. No? But sabi ko, I always credited myself for the success of my marriage. And ngayon ko lang, when I became a Christian, I realized, apart from God's grace, we wouldn't have lasted this long. We're now on our 32nd year.
Wow.
No? And if not for the grace of God, wala na kami siguro ngayon. And that just reminds you of your need to be dependent on God all the time. Of course, you work hard for it, no? But grace pa rin ni Lord. It's God who gave you the skill, the talent, the intelligence, the ability to create wealth. Si God pa rin yun eh. So, you can't help but give credit to Him if you understand, no, that He owns everything in your life.
Mm. How did you feel when you were encountering marital problems? Because I don't know, I just feel like I'm Joe the Mango. I made a living out of telling people how to solve their love problems. And here I am. Because I heard that the line that your wife gave you was, "Can we be friends?" Which is like,
Yeah.
I mean, to hear that from your wife, that's tough.
Yeah.
You know, how did you feel about that?
Dumating ako sa point ng marriage ko na parang my marriage was all about me. It's all about me. Nawalan na ako ng time sa family ko. Remember, there's a downside to that passion, that desire na hindi nawawala for love. No? So, downside nun, I was married to it. My life revolved around Joe the Mango. My life revolved around what love notes is. And sabi ko nga, ngayon ko na-realize, no amount of success can compensate for failure in your family. I was successful in many aspects of my life, but I felt during that time that I failed my wife, I failed my children because we were at the brink of separating. Mahirap kasi parang I remember pag nagpupunta kami sa Fridays, I mean, bihira na nga lang kami mag-usap kasi nga busy ako palagi. Konti lang yung time namin na nakakapag-dine out kami. Ginagawa ko, nanonood lang akong TV. Parang I'm so tired physically to even converse. And that's so unfair. And that's the reason why my wife felt like parang, sino na ba ako sa buhay mo ngayon? And that's when it all began, no? Yung this isang linggong pag-ibig namin, no? But it was the lowest point of my life. I remember, lagi ko sinasabi, no, if you love the person, set that person free. Pero when I was in a position to tell myself, your wife is asking you for freedom, give it to her, parang wow, parang hirap yata nun. And I had to set aside myself for a while and parang lumabas si Joe Domingo sa harap ko and sabi niya, if she wants freedom, give it to her.
This is like
so
the
sabi
Joe.
ko, yes, so parang alam mo yun, parang may genie lumabas.
Parang Joe the Mango version ng ako ang iyong konsyensya.
Yes, parang gano'n, no? Scary, no? Pero sabi ko, sige, if that's what you want. Pero I realized that was a wrong mindset, no? I should have fought for my wife at that time. I didn't. Sabi ko, sige, kung yan gusto mo. Pride pa rin.
Pride, yeah.
Sige, di ba? I mean, parang, I don't see any reason why kailangan umabot sa ganon. Simply because hindi lang kami masyado nakakapag-usap, no? She needs to feel love and she needs to be affirmed all the time, which I wasn't able to give her. So, doon nag-umpisa yun. It was hard, Sam, to let go of that, no? Of that feeling na parang, sige, magkaibigan na lang tayo. But I had to.
No, yeah, I just thought that was a really interesting part of your story of, you know, here is a man who has made a name for himself, giving love advice to people, and then he himself
couldn't make it
work.
Yeah,
the situation, with the wife, but you did make it work. You guys are still together. You know, as you said, are celebrating
stronger than
years.
ever.
Yes.
And you guys are now pastoring together.
Yes.
Right.
What?
Yeah,
even Tita Bing now?
Yes, she's very active in the ministry also.
So tell us about your ministry in Canberra. I mean, I know it's 7 years old, going on 8 now, I think.
Yung church, we started in 2016. Pero when we came here, ang una-una namin ginawa is to hold small groups. Not me, kasi mahihayin ako eh. Si Bing. She would meet Filipinos sa grocery. Sabi niya, oy, punta kayo sa bahay. I'll cook something for you. And then long before we knew it, we were doing a backyard church already. So marami na nagpupunta. We had to divide the kids na kasi hindi na kasya. And then our pastors from the Philippines came over. And they said, oh, yung ginagawa nyo dito, this is church already. Kasi nag-worship kami sa backyard, no, may konting preaching. That you have the semblance of a Christian service already. Very, very informal and very organic. Sabi nila, Joe, gusto mo bang bumalik sa Pilipinas to study at the Every Nation School of World Mission and so forth? I remember telling Pastor Michael, sabi ko, Pastor, my heart is to serve the Lord, but I'll pray about it. It's my way of saying, no thanks. Yes, we'll just do this, but I don't want to, I don't want to be a missionary. I don't want to have anything to do with formal ministry. Pero when we came back, December that year, I remember we attended Victory Green Hills. Pastor Dennis was preaching on parang using your life for God's glory. Parang na-convict ako nung time na yan.
Is this our Pastor Dennis?
Yeah, yes, I told you, Dennis. Our Pastor Dennis.
Our Pastor Dennis. Yes. Sabi ko, Pastor Dennis, yes. Sabi niya, anong yes? Sabi ko, mag-aaral kami. Kasi we had to leave our kids for 5 months. Kasi ganun katagal yung course. It's a missionary course. Sabi, so that you will be able to do your mission work more effectively, you need to be equipped, diba? So, na-realize naman namin na kailangan namin yung equipping na yun. Sabi ni Pastor Dennis, nagulat siya. Talaga. So, that was December. We were back in January sa Pilipinas until May of 2016. For 5 months, we went to school every day sa the fort. And then, pagbalik na, bago kami bumalik, sabi namin, oh, we're excited. Sino yung papadala niyang pastor? Si Pastor Dennis ba? Or sino mang pastor na papadala niya for us to support? And sabi nila, we're not sending any pastors. You will be pastoring that church. So nagulat kami. Accidental pastors kami. Hindi talaga namin iniisip na ito magiging buhay namin. No, it's okay na nag-small group kami. We do our worship sa bahay. Masaya na kami ng gano'n. Pero to really plant a church, parang talaga, Lord, papagawa mo sa amin yan. But that was His plan all along. So pagbalik namin dito noong May 2016, we had our first official church service in a proper church venue noong July 2016.
Na ikaw ang nag-lead, Tito Joe.
Ako yung nag-lead. Oh. So yung mga bata, sila Mickey, sila Ann, sila yung kumakanta. So it's like a small team. May worship. Yeah, we've been doing church officially since 2016. And by far, this has been the most rewarding career that I've ever had compared to everything else that I've experienced. And I wouldn't exchange this for anything else. Serving God, using the gifts that He has given you to make an impact in the lives of people and bring them closer to knowing Jesus is, for me, the most rewarding career that anyone could ever have.
And Mama, Tito Joe was 45 when he sort of felt the first, I say, call. Tama ba yan, Tito Joe?
Yes, yes.
I think I'm on the right path because I'm 45
Tina,
now.
It's never too late.
Okay, so Tito Joe, si Tina brings this up quite a bit on the podcast because I think she has this feeling of like, wow, why did it take me so long to seek God? And I can relate to that feeling because I came late to the faith as well. I was in my late 30s, and there's definitely a part of me that wonders, I wonder how my life could have been different if I found God, much, much earlier on. And because I think it would have been amazing. What advice do you have for people like that who think?
Alam mo, I can say that kung sino ka man, no, you are exactly where God wants you to be. Whatever it is that God allowed you to experience in the past, God will use it, in whatever purpose that He has for your life. Si Tina, I know Tina has been through a lot. I've seen, siguro, sobrang daming luha na Tina. And I know how ilog, rivers of tears. Alam ko na ang daming pinagdaanan na hurt ni Tina sa buhay niya. And alam mo, minsan tatanong mo si God, why? Bakit ko kailangan pagdaanan to, Lord? Pagod na ako, hirap na ako. Kasi gagamitin niya yan, lahat ng na-experience mo, to be an inspiration to other people. Gagamitin ka niya to help people who are in the same situation. Pina-experience niya sa'yo yan so that you can inspire them sa mga pinagdadaanan nila sa buhay nila. So God will use your past, no, to bring glory to Him, and He will use that to bring forth a future that will impact the lives of other people.
A to the man, girl.
Yes.
Yes! I'm so excited
Canberra,
for your
here I
journey.
come.
Sama ko. Because,
Sige,
I mean,
baka kayo dito.
yeah, aside from the ministry that you have established and the small church now that you lead, I know you also run a cafe, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
tell us about that.
Well,
It's so cute.
our second daughter, Ange, no, is a chef, no. She studied at ISCAM, no, in Katipunan. And when we came here, she went to different cafes. And parang sabi namin nung time na yon, Lord, parang gusto namin yatang ituloy yung ginawa namin sa Pilipinas, no. But we were afraid na if we focus on the business, we might sacrifice ministry. So, meron kaming hesitation na. But we really wanted talaga to put up a food business here. Kasi yun na yung umpisa namin sa Pilipinas. But sabi namin, no, Lord, hindi. Ikaw yung uunahin namin. And then I had the dream. There was this cafe na hindi ko may paliwanag. Basta I had this dream, no? Tapos nung night na yon, I watched a movie na hindi ko naman normally panonoorin kasi hindi ako masyadong mahilig sa mga romance movies, no? And hindi rin
The
ako nanonood ng
irony. Really?
The irony. Yeah, no. Mahilig ako sa mga Iron Man, mga Avengers, Transformers.
Nerdy movies.
Yeah.
Nerdy movies. Anyway, sabi ko, sige, panoorin ko na nga to. I remember I brought a hard drive with a lot of movies, no. Sabi ko, panoorin ko nga to. Ang title ng movie is Coffee Shop. And Coffee Shop. I saw the characters dun sa movie na yon are real life characters sa buhay namin. Even people from church. And I realized it was a Christian movie. So parang, and then Coffee shop. Ang ano lang, sobrang coincidental lang. Nakita ko yung sofa namin. Almost the same sofa. Doon sa movie. And then yung sabi ko, parang, Lord, is this a sign na you want us to do this? So, parang I think that was what God was telling us. It's okay. Because, again, I'm still gonna use that to advance my kingdom and glorify my name. So, sinabi namin, sige Lord, gagawin namin. So, we started it in 2017. So, it's called Sunday in Canberra. It's been running now for almost 4 years. It's doing really, really very well. There was a time na we were disillusioned kasi parang, Lord, bakit hindi kami kumikita? Bakit parang sabi mo, di ba? But it's all part of God's testing of your faith, no? He wants you to rely on Him, not on your own strength. And ngayon, we're doing really, really very well. Sunday in Canberra is one of the go-to places pag nagpunta kayo dito sa Canberra. So we'll definitely invite you there pag pumunta kayo.
Uy, Tito Joe, sanay ako magpunas-punas ng lamesa. My first job in San Diego was I was a hostess. Ako yung taga-upo ng mga
You're hired.
Oo.
Yeah.
No, but going
Yes.
back to the time you started the cafe, parang tama ka, Sam, no? Parang Lord has a mysterious way of making you feel like parang he makes you feel like medyo hopeless, or I don't want to say desperate.
Yeah,
parang
actually,
scared.
yeah. No, but actually, because some people really need to feel like I cannot turn anywhere else now. And then they'll turn to God. Which, hopefully, yes. I wish we didn't do that, but I think human nature is like that.
I think it's God's way of reminding us, no, not to be completely dependent on Him. Kasi if everything's going well on our way, parang
we forget.
We forget about Him.
We do.
That's God's way of nudging us. Sabi niya, oh, andito ako. And when He brings you to the bottom so that you will understand and realize that He is the rock at the bottom. Even if you find yourself in a helpless and hopeless situation, you can rest in the fact that He is the rock at the bottom. He will never leave you nor forsake you. No, he's doing that to test your faith and to grow your character.
Wow, rock at the bottom. I love that.
Ah,
Tita Joe, it sounds to
Yes.
me like you made some major decisions. You've had many leaps of faith in this journey of yours. What
Yes.
are like how, and I think that's a big question among people of faith,
Mm,
discerning what is
mm.
God trying to tell me? What is God asking me to do? How do you decide on those things?
Good question, Sam. No? A lot of people are asking, how do you hear God?
oo,
Di ba?
yes.
Kasi when you ask God, parang there are so many voices that you hear. Lord, ano ba? Ano ba yung gusto mo talagang gawin ko, di ba? So a lot of people are struggling with that. Struggling with hearing God's voice. Kasi you hear a lot of noise alongside with that, no? Sometimes yung voice of God is a very faint whisper, and everything you hear is just like loud noise. I believe, no, the first thing that we need to do is to make sure that we have a strong relationship with the Lord. For us to be able to hear God, we need to be in a deep relationship with Him. So when I say deep relationship with Him, you have to commune, pray, talk to Him every day, just like having a friend. If God is someone na tatawagin mo lang if you need to make a decision, then I don't think it would be easy for you to hear God. You need to have a
Yeah.
relationship with Him first for you to be able to hear Him. And if you have a deep relationship with God, you will know. Yung sinasabi ni Sam, yung discernment, no, the Holy Spirit will guide you. You will hear that voice clearly. This is what I want you to do. And I can't explain it. It only happens when you know that you are sincerely communicating with God, and if you truly have a deep personal relationship with Him. So yun yung unang-unang step na dapat natin gawin, to establish a deep and personal relationship with God, so that we can hear Him in the sea of noise that we hear every day.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Woo!
I
I'm
remember
just getting started.
I just remember something like I think it was Bishop Barron who was talking about this, and the idea was the same. When you meet somebody and you want to get to know that person, the only way to do that is to spend time with them, talk to them.
Yes.
And then you get
Yes.
to a point where you know the person inside out. And maybe you will see this person from a distance, maybe just see that, get a glimpse of like this person's head or something. But because you've spent so much time with him, you would recognize him right
That's true.
away. And it's kind
That's
of
true.
like that. So
That's
you
true.
really need to invest the time to build this relationship with God so that even amidst all the noise, you would recognize His voice. What is getting you through this time of pandemic? I know where you are right now. It's not as bad. I think you guys, the lifestyle, kind of like night and day compared to where Tina and I are in the Philippines, right? But the pandemic is something that is affecting all of us. And yeah, I guess it's kind of like a mandatory question. Like, what is getting you through this difficult time of pandemic?
In spite of life dito sa Australia na sobrang okay, no, it still doesn't, parang, I can tell you now that we have one of the highest suicide rates. No?
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my goodness. Okay.
Not because we live in a country that's sufficient, no, or where there's a lot of government support, means that we're always okay. No? Maraming tao sa Pilipinas, you wake up every day worried about, if they're gonna get sick or mahawaan sila, no? Here, iba, hindi yun ang problema dito. A lot of people here are suffering from mental disorders, depression and anxiety, and it's very real. And the fact is, Christians are not exempted from it, right? I've had my moments in my life, even tung last year, no, when out of the blue you just feel sad, you just feel like you don't want to talk to anyone, and even if everything's going on well with your life, ang feeling mo parang walang purpose yung buhay mo. You just want to isolate yourself, and it happens. And every time that happens, Sam, no, I'm reminded of a lot of people in the Bible who got really very, very depressed. Si Elijah, sabi niya, Lord, take my life away. No? Patayin mo na lang ako, sobrang hirap na ito pinagdadaanan ko. Even strong men of faith feel that. And I think the most important thing is to understand na you have a God who loves you, knows how you feel and knows how you're suffering. And he cares about you. And once you learn to understand the gravity of what God has done to show his love for us, you will find relief in the knowledge that God will never forsake you nor leave you, even in the darkest and most trying times of your life. Now, sometimes God doesn't take away the mountain in front of you. He uses the mountain to change you and change your heart. Sometimes God doesn't take the storm away from your life, but he will be with you in and through the storm. So yun lang, para sa akin, no matter how difficult life is, just knowing that God never leaves you, no matter what happens, is a great consolation. Parang I can rest on that. I can rest on that.
Mm.
Oh,
I am resting on that. I'm gonna go rest now on that. No, that's good. That is good.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He's a pastor in Canberra. Go to his church if you guys are living there. Gosh, we need to wrap this thing.
Oo nga eh.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Siguro dapat may part 2 to, Tito Joe, kasi dami pa namin tanong.
Okay, go.
Can we have you again?
Sure.
Oh,
Anytime. Basta ganitong time. This time is a good time.
Great. I have one last question. I just feel like maybe we can tie in the love notes part of you, the faith part of you, the current situation in the world right now. Plus, this is probably going to be like a little taste of what you're going to get in the revived version of Love Notes that is coming up. We'll keep you posted on that.
Yay.
Being where you are now, having gone through everything that you have, what advice would you give people of faith in this time of pandemic in the love life department? Like single people, because there are ang daming hadlang. Tito Joe, I mean, I'm single right now.
Okay, all right.
And how do I even meet somebody? And even before the pandemic, I was already, because I think when you come to the faith, it becomes very important now to you to be with somebody who is on the same page with that stuff.
Hirap kasi pag hindi.
Yeah, it's very important.
Okay.
So there's that, and then now the pandemic, and then I think a lot of people are going online now too, because I mean, what other options do you have? Not a ton, right? So given all of these factors, what advice would you give single people right now?
Mahirap yung tanong mo.
It's a tough one.
Matagal na akong single, I believe it's every person's desire. There's always this deep longing, deep need to feel loved, to feel appreciated. And that's the reason why a lot of single people are desiring to be in a relationship. Kasi you need to fulfill that need. But para sa akin kasi, I always tell my kids, you don't get into a relationship to fulfill a need. You get into a relationship so that you can bring something into the relationship. Ang marami kasi sa atin, parang we are so centered on how we feel and how a person would make us feel. And there's nothing wrong with that. Para sa akin, mahirap lang yung, for a lot of single people, it's okay to remain single. Hindi ko sinasabing don't dream or don't aspire to be in a relationship. But ang prayer ko palagi, Lord, help me to become a person worth loving. Rather than, Lord, help me to find someone to love.
Oh.
Kasi laging ganun. A lot of single people, Lord, hanapan mo naman ako ng taong mamahalin ko. But I think we're praying the wrong question. Not that I'm saying it's wrong to pray that, but para sa akin, it's more important to pray, Lord, help me to become a lovable person. Kasi when you pray for God to change you, then people around you will see that change and they would want to be with you. They would want to get to know you better. They would want to be closer to you. So if that's your prayer, I think that's the way to go. Kasi if you, Lord, make me a lovable person. Lord, make me a person who would encourage other people. Lord, make me someone who would be more understanding and more caring. If you pray that, God will make you that kind of person, and then people will notice you. People would want to be close to you. People would want to know you deeper because you reflect so much about the qualities of God that they want. So para sa akin, for a lot of single people, if you're praying for a relationship, Lord, I pray that you change me first. Make me a better person. Make me someone worth loving. Pag pinray mo yon, believe me, dadating yung taong makakakita nun and who will love you for who you are. So don't be in a hurry. Kahit, tingnan mo si Tina, masaya na siya ngayon.
Diba? Look, she looks so kilig. Parang tuwang-tuwa siya.
Hindi, kasi totoo naman, di ba? Like, Tito Joe, like I was telling Sam, parang, like, you know, like you both said, I'm in the perfect time, in his time, di ba? Na parang, even if whatever comes my way, I'm not gonna, like, sorry for the term, about it. Because I know Jesus has my back now.
Yes.
And I wish if I had a little of that in the past, diba? Parang, it would have been different. But it's okay. Because it's, you know, like you said, my past, he molded me. He molded me into something greater. I just don't know what it is yet.
So he will use all of it for his glory.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how Tina's story is gonna unfold.
Yes.
And Tito Joe, that was great advice. I think in this time where a lot of us here in the Philippines anyway, like we're all cooped up, we don't know what to do with our day.
We still wear masks.
Yes, you know, when we step out, you know, we're all covered up still. And yeah, I feel like we can kind of shift our mindset and use this time to improve ourselves. And be that kind of person
worth loving,
who we would like to be with too. You know, use this time to
worth loving.
Improve, transform.
Yes.
So thank you. What song would you play for this, Tina? For that kind of advice?
Teka muna. Na-pressure.
Your story is so inspiring, and I wish you all the best in the ministry that you have started in Canberra.
Thank you.
Yes, we would love to have you back again. How do people find you? Yeah, how do people
find
you online?
Tito Joe.
Well, I have a Facebook account that is not very active now. I just post once in a while. But you can search for Joe the Mango on Facebook. It has the Every Nation logo on it. That's my official account. And then that might change in the next coming days because that will be part of the Love Notes.
God's
platform.
Gonna boom!
Yes.
Bubulagain ka, Tito Joe.
Yes. Sana nga.
Okay, so
that's another episode. Maganda pag-usapan kasi sobrang daming magandang nangyari lately.
Yay! Yeah. So that means we can have him back, Sam.
Yeah, please. Yes. I hope you can make time for us again in the near future.
Definitely. Alam mo, natutuwa ako sa inyong dalawa. I feel so blessed, no? Knowing that you have this heart, no? To share your faith on this platform. No? A lot of people need that kind of encouragement. A lot of people need to know to get encouraged by people like you. Step up and boldly profess their faith in Jesus. You will make a big impact, a big dent in the life of a lot of people. And I'm just blessed to know that you're taking this journey along with many other Christians, no? Especially in this time where we need talagang a solid foundation, no? Someone to lean back on. Alam natin we'll never falter, we'll never shake, we'll never fall. And that's Jesus. So thank you. I'm really blessed sa inyong dalawa. I wish you... Yes, talaga. Sobrang natutuwa ako talaga. I mean, I'm very thankful. Sobra.
Thank you so much, Tito Joe. Thank you. Yeah, this is like one big blessed circle right now. And again,
amen.
Thank you for your time, for sharing your
Thank
story
you,
with us.
thank
I'm
you,
sure
thank you.
many will be inspired by this.
Sam, we
And
need
we'll
a
see you
group
soon.
photo.
Yeah,
We
and
got a
Stay
group
tuned.
photo.
we're looking
All right.
we're looking forward to Love Notes. Yeah, on YouTube.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you guys.
excited.
Yes, for joining us
Sam,
today on the
group
episode.
photo,
Yes.
group photo.
Okay,
group
we're gonna
photo.
do it
1,
after
2,
we say bye. Girl,
sorry.
girl, can we say bye first? Thank you for joining us today. If you guys want to write to us, thenarrowdoorpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to see someone on the show, let us know. Maybe we can invite them and have a Just the Girls episode. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye. Okay, we're ready for that picture now. Okay, let's do it. Who's taking
1,
it?
2, 3. Ikaw, wala
Ay,
ka
ako
pa.
ba? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Got it.
All right.